Hello and welcome, everyone. It is Saturday, the 8th of November, 2025. I'm your host, Jason Allen, and today is my weekly performance summary for the week ending today, 11/08. For those of you that are new, brand new subscribers, I do this broadcast every Saturday, and I leave them up permanently on my YouTube channel. Now, the reason I do this is to show you that what I have to offer you at Net Winning Trader is highly vetted, well thought out, well disciplined, and highly valuable. In other words, if you were to go through the entire Net Winning Trader protocols and you wanted to use these specific signals that I trade on every week, it's all in that library. You could apply it anytime you want and get similar results. In some cases, better results. So I want to encourage you to remember that and have a look at what's going on at the netwinningtrader.com website because, quite frankly, most everybody that I talk to, most traders, if they're listening to something like this, it's because they haven't really gotten where they want to go yet in this business, and they're still looking for ways to improve their edge or even get an edge to begin with. So they're looking to improve. So if you're one of those people looking to improve, I think you're going to find that I've got something highly valuable for you. And that being said, I want to show it to you week after week. So what you're going to look at right now, this is my actual real performance of how well I did this particular week. And let's have a look at it. So I start with closed trades. I did a total of 6 trades were closed. Now we have open positions, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So the closed trades, it was a very light week, only 6 closed trades. Lost money across the board on all of them, almost all of them. I only had one winning trade. That one winning trade was not even for 50 pips. So my loss for the week, 184.1 pips lost. Now that sounds like a big amount until you get to the open trades that I carry into the following week. Now you don't have to do this. If you wanted to close out your positions every Friday afternoon and start over fresh the next week, you could do that. The reason I hold them is because sometimes a signal come on at the bottom of a move. Let's say it's a long position and it'll come on at a low price that might be a 6-month low. It might have a month or two of upside potential that might cover 700 or 800 pips, 6 or 7 solid handles. Well, I'm okay with letting that happen. I don't mind sitting on my hands week after week if that means my equity is growing every week. You may not be like that. So I hold trades over the weekend. You're welcome to do that. If you don't want to, that's up to you. So I got 2 pound positions on. Why? Because this is not time to be shy. It's time to load for bear, in my opinion. We're at some very significant price points for the major pairs, and I'll show you that in just a minute. At least that's my point of view. So I've got 2 long positions on in pounds, holding for a little more than 180 pips. I have positions on in euro, the same way. Not quite as much, only about 100 pips total, but it's still a nice gain that's happening. Yen, I have 2 short sides on for 150 and change, and then also I have the long on for a short open trade gain. In other words, for those of you that understand what I've been doing, if you watched consistently, you'll know that what I do is something called the price agnostic method. I don't care what the price is in the market. I just want to be on the right side of the move that's occurring. So the move that's occurring now is a sell-off. But in that sell-off, there's going to be price points that might mean the bottom's in near term. So you want to execute along there. You're going to hold both of them. Nothing wrong with that. What we're going to do now, since the best winning side is the sell side, if the long side doesn't work and this market goes back to the entry price for the long, we'll take it off. So there's a good chance it'll be a scratch trade anyway, and we'll hold the short side and look to add to it. while working the long side from underneath again if it shows up. Canadian dollar, we have two shorts working there for some nice gains. So basically, the open trade equity is 657 pips versus 180 loss. So you can see that there's no problem with money making. The issue isn't having open trade gains. The issue is closing out those trades at a gain, so they stay there. So what we're looking for next week is just net continuation of existing price patterns. We're looking for the longs in pounds and euro to perform better, the shorts in yen and CAD to increase in value, and that's the game plan. We'll see if it works. In the meantime, we're rolling stops, and as we roll stops, we lock in gains, and you know the rest. So let's go ahead and look at this play by play. And here is our chart for pounds. And let me get my pen running here. Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, on the left side of the screen, you can see our entry point here on the long side and my stop price here. So that long was taken out for a loss. Another buy signal right here, taken out for a loss. Now this was a bad beat, meaning the price that I was liquidated at was roughly the low price. New buy signal on the very next bar, so we took it, and that one worked. Right here is the add point, and the add point is there because we have what could be, where's my pointer go now? Here, can't seem to find it. There we go. Could be developing uptrend. So that would be the buy point where developing uptrend would happen. And it just so also included my other rule, which is about a 100-point open trade gain. So that point is working nicely into the close. And all we're looking for now next week is this trend to develop and become more secure, and we'll add to it as time goes on. For those of you that are watching in real time, you'll notice that there's no signal here at the top, but there was a limit order placed to sell this pair by the automation. That's still working. In other words, about time to maybe add to the short side here, but personally, I think it's just a signal that's generated by the automation. I don't think it's viable. We have to take it, but I don't think it's viable. Here's why. Take a look over here where we started the week at, and look at where we finished the week. Basically, what happened is the market continued its sell-off after opening unchanged on the week until it traded to a multi-week, multi-month low print, and then rallied for the next 3 days, eventually putting in a new high for the week on a Friday, and did it on good volume. That's typically a reversal. So I think there's more upside due in the pounds, and that's me. I don't know. We'll see. So I've got two positions on, looking for that to occur. All right, let's go over to Euro. And as you can see over here, we came in long. Here's my long entry on Friday, and it didn't work. Now, here's what's interesting about this pair, as you can see right here, where we were stopped out. Took another day for another buy signal to show up, but we took that, and then added to it because the market appears to be developing trend. So we added to it. Stops out of range, all that good stuff. But I want to show you this real quick here. Here's the signal that we went in on, right? This is Monday and Tuesday, more signals, but instead of going in, getting stopped out, going in, getting stopped out, going in, getting stopped out, all of these signals, as you'll notice where they're actually coming on at, was within the initial stop risk area of the initial trade. You see that? That happens quite frequently with this toolbox. You get a lot of reasons to get into that pair, and it's all within your basic entry point anyway. Again, kind of a bad beat situation. I mean, where we were stopped out was within 20 ticks of the low anyway, with another buy signal on there. So we took it and then added to it on the way up, and we'll see if we're heading for the rocket ride. In this case, we have the other side working with a sell signal. However, the sell signal here has not been triggered yet. It's a limit order with an entry price about there. So signal came on, the entry price was placed, and we haven't hit it yet. It'll most likely be expired by Monday anyway. So there's two orders working over the weekend. I think it's going to expire Monday evening, so we'll see. We might get filled, we may not, but it doesn't matter. Point is, if it's filled and the market sells off, here's our stop to get out of our two longs while holding the short side. Here's yen. Again, yen, we had a short position we came in on. This little H here, which was also, sell the top, was within the initial stop placement, which was eventually rolled down to here to lock a profit, and that's where we got taken out. So the one winning trade for the week, this was it. As the market was selling off and we were looking good for possible trend development, we had a rally back to retest the top of the range before failing again. Well, once it failed again, I got right back in. That's what do you call that? That's called a what do you call it when you got an automated system that's working. There's no signal or anything, but then you decide to get in anyway. That's what do they call it when they call it discretionary, I guess, right? Could call it discretionary, but in any case, I'm following the same basic pattern here. We're topping, and we're topping at 154, which was the high price for the year, going back more than a year. It's not time to be shy, so I put 2 on. Again, proof of concept was what we're doing here, but if the truth were told, this is the kind of number you want to add to right away. Because I think we're going to be here. This top here is going to hold for several hundred points. So we have a sell signal late in the day on Friday, right here, with our possible developing downtrend, right? And of course, here's the buy side becoming active in yen already. You'll notice why. We're about 200 points from the high. High was 54.50 and the low was 52.70. So almost 200 points off the high is a reasonable place to expect some buying pressure to come in. So that, I think, is why that signal's active. But it doesn't really matter because we're holding it long, and on Monday we're going to roll the stop up to break even right here, and we're going to let it work. Look to maybe add another one on the sell side if we continue to see this short position develop with a trend possibly. That's basically the same argument in Canadian dollar, same one, except Canada's a little, I think, late. Selling on, came in on the short side, out once we made a new high for the week. New sell signal here, which included this within range of its risk parameters, stopped out right there for a loss. And then the final high prints, 141 and change. This is highest price this has been at all year. Definitely time to sell. There's your retest like we got in yen before the sell-off. News came out on Friday morning that was not good. It was actually better for Canada than the United States. So Canadian dollar rallied while the US dollar fell and gave us a reversal pattern, nice off the high. But unlike pounds and euro, not quite enough. There's our opening right there. So we didn't quite get a reversal week. You can see we're still a little bit light here. But we did manage to respect 3 layers of support resistance. That's the one down here where we're currently holding. This one here was resistance on the way up and failed on the way down. That usually indicates this area is now resistance. So it was resistance here, went through it, came back down and failed. So this anything above that 40-80 area could be considered the sell zone. This new blue line right here, this one here, That is latest and greatest, I guess you'd say, resistance area because of the high prints for the week. So anything, I think anything between 40.80 and 41.40 is your sell zone if you get it again. But I'm going to look for a place to sell again. In other words, once we're developing downtrend, if it's a secure downtrend, we're looking for a place to add to it. And of course, when the buy side comes on, we'll have that working. So far, it's not there. One thing that I think is very important about Canadian dollar is we are under the 200 bar moving average at one point. We closed back above it. That's going to attract some buyers off that support zone. That's what they think this is here. It was resistance, went through it, testing it again over here now, the 40.30 to 40.40 area, that right there, that bottom double bar, that could be a developing support area. So we'll see. Right now, it looks like the jury's out on it. And that's all she wrote for the week, guys. So thanks for coming. I want to remind you I'll be posting my performance for the week every Saturday. So if you consider yourself a serious trader who's looking for some serious tools, and you want to learn how to use those serious tools, I want you to visit my website. I think I've got something of real value there. If you like these signals and you want to use them, I include them. You get the algorithms that are included in the purchase price. So you buy a lifetime membership to Net Winning Trader, you have the opportunity to use everything that's there now. Plus, I put stuff up there pretty regular. I give it to Tony, he posts it. So every month there's new material going on there. So it's a great place to stay updated on data, information, and tools. I give you the algorithm so you can have that program for whatever system you're using, and it'll put the trades for you right on the chart, depending on how sophisticated you want to get. You can automate them, and they'll automatically trade for you if you want. Also, I provide a free daily podcast. They call it the Trader's Daily Discipline. It's a look inside the psychology of what it takes to win in this business. I do that every morning. I want it to be the best 5 to 8 minutes of your day, your start to the day, early in the morning, before you sit down with anything. Just it's you and your cup of coffee. I want you to listen to Trader's Daily Discipline to get a dose of an earful of stuff you don't want to forget. And over time, if you listen to that broadcast long enough, we're going to cover pretty much everything. You have a nice little notebook full of stuff that's always good to have in front of you. And of course, you can always get the archive of that on YouTube. Don't forget, if you want to subscribe, you already got Spotify or Apple. Just look up Trader's Daily Discipline and get it there. So that's it, guys. Hope you have a great rest of the weekend. I'll see you on Monday morning for Trader's Daily Discipline. In between now and then, have a great day. If you're interested in saying hello, feel free to email me at support@netwinningtrader.com. And feel free to keep those cards and letters coming. I know we have a lot of new signups here the last couple of weeks, and we'll have more next week. So I want you to feel like the door is open. If you want to chat, I'm around. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.